Have you made it this far? I applaud you. It's just the beginning. I know. I took it to work out. I can tell you anything. It's your girl, Taquise, a.k.a. Killer Queen T, a.k.a. Black LT, a.k.a. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And I know y'all like, okay, so I'm going to see if I can make this 2 videos. Chapter 4 of The Little Lame Prince. And what of the traveling cloak? What sort of cloak was it? And what good did it do to the prince? Stay, and I'll tell you all about it. Outside, it was commonest looking bundle imaginable, shabby and small. In the instant Prince Doran touched it, it grew smaller, still dwindling down till he could put it in his trousers pocket. Like a handkerchief rolled up in a ball, he did this at once, for fear his nurse should see it, and kept it there all day, all night too. Till after his next morning's lesson, he had no opportunity of examining his treasure. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can take y'all back a little bit. Ugh. Okay, is that better? Y'all like that? That's better? Yeah. When he did, it seemed no treasure at all, but a mere piece of cloth. Circular in form, dark green in color, that is, if it had any color at all. Being so worn and shabby, though not dirty. It had a split cut to the center, forming a round hole for the neck, and that was all its shape. The shape, in fact, of those cloaks, which in South America are called ponchos. Very simple, but much graceful and convenient. Prince Dolar had never seen anything like it. In spite of his disappointment, he examined it curiously. He spread it out on the floor, then arranged it on his shoulders. It felt very warm and comfortable. But it was so exceedingly shabby, the only shabby thing that the prince had ever seen in his life. And what use would it be to me, said he sadly. I have no need of outdoor clothes, as I never go out. Why was this given to me, I wonder? And what in the world am I to do with it? She must be a rather funny person, this dear godmother of mine. Nevertheless, because she is his godmother, and had given him the cloak, he folded it carefully and put it away, poor and shabby as it was, hiding it in a safe corner of his top cupboard, which his nurse never meddled with. He did not want her to find it, or to laugh at it, or at his godmother, as he felt sure she would, if she knew all. There it lay, and by, he forgot all about it. Nay, am I sorry to say that, being but a child and not seeing her again, he almost forgot his sweet old godmother, or thought of her only as he did of angels or fairies that he read of in his books, and of her visit as if it had been a mere dream of the night. There were times, certainly, when he recalled her of early morning, like that morning when she appeared beside him, and late evenings when the great twilight reminded him of the color of her hair and her pretty soft garments. Above all, when walking in the middle of night, when the stars peering in at his window, or the moonlight shining across his little bed, he would not have been surprised to see her standing beside it, looking at him with those beautiful, tender eyes, which seemed to have a pleasantness and comfort in them different from anything he had ever known. But she never came, and gradually she slipped out of his memory. Only a boy's memory, after all. Until something happened, which made him remember her, and want her as he had never wanted anything before. Prince Dolar fell ill. He caught. His nurse could not tell how. Common to the people in Northland.
Want amazing looking eyes? Try Lumify.
Called the doldrums, as unpleasant as measles or any other complaints. And it made him restless, cross, and disagreeable. Even when a little better, he was too weak to enjoy anything, but lay all day on his sofa, fidgeting his nurse extremely. While in her intense terror, lest he might die, she fidgeted him still more. At last, seeing he really was getting well, she left him to himself, which she was most glad of. And in spite of his dullness and dreariness, there he lay, alone, quite alone. Now and then an irritable fit came over him, in which he longed to get up and do something, or go somewhere. He would have liked to imitate his white kitten, jump down from the tower and run away, taking the chance of whatever might happen. Only one thing, alas, was likely to happen. For the kitten, he remembered, had 4 active legs, while I wonder what my godmother meant when she looked at my legs and sighed so bitterly. I wonder why I can't walk straight and steady like my nurse. Only I wouldn't like to have her great noisy clumping shoes. Still, it would be very nice to move about quickly. Perhaps to fly, like a bird. Like that strings of birds I saw the other day skimming across the sky, one after the other. There were the pasture birds, the only living creatures that ever crossed the lonely plain. He had been much interested in them, wondering whence they came and whither they were going. How nice it must be to be a bird. If legs are no good, how can not one have wings? People have wings when they die, perhaps. I wish I were dead, that I do. I am so tired, and no one cares for me. Nobody ever did care for me, except perhaps my godmother. Godmother, dear, have you quite forsaken me? He stretched himself wearily, gathered himself up, dropped his head upon his hands. As he did so, he felt someone kiss him at the back of his neck, and turning, found that he was resting, not on the sofa pillows, but on a warm shoulder, that of the little old woman clothed in gray. How glad he was to see her! How he looked into her kind eyes and felt her hands, to see if she were all real and alive. Then he put both his arms around her neck and kissed her as if he would never have done kissing. "Stop, stop!" cried she, pretending to be smothered. "I see you have not forgotten my teachings. Kissing is a good thing, in moderation. Only just let me have breath to speak one word." "Doesn't," he said. "Well then, tell me all that has happened to you since I saw you, or rather since you saw me, which is quite a different thing." "Nothing has happened. Nothing ever happened to me," answered the prince dolefully. "And are you very dull, my boy? So dull that I was just thinking whether I could jump down to the bottom of the tower like my white kitten." "Don't do that. Not being a white kitten. I wish I were. I wish I were anywhere. I were anything but what I am. And you can't make yourself any different. Nor can I do it either. You must be content to stay just as you are." The little old woman said this very firmly, but gently too, with her arms around his neck and her lips on his forehead. It was the first time the boy had ever heard anyone talk like this, and he looked up in surprise, but not in pain, for her sweet manner softened the hardness of her words. "Now, my prince, for you are a prince, and you must behave as such, let me see what we can do, how much I can do for you, or show you how to do for yourself. Where is your traveling cloak?" Prince Dolor blushed extremely. I put it away in the cupboard. I suppose it is there still." "You have never used it? You dislike it?" He hesitated, not wishing to be impolite. "Don't you think it's just a little old and shabby for a prince?" The old woman laughed, long and hard, though very sweetly. "Prince indeed! Why, if all the princes in the world craved for it, they couldn't get it unless I gave it to them. Old and shabby, it's the most valuable thing imaginable. Very, very few ever have it, but I thought I would give it to you, because you are different from other people." "Am I?" said the prince, and looked first with curiosity, then with sort of anxiety into his godmother's face, which was sad and grievous, with slow tears beginning to sleep down. She touched his poor little legs. "These are not like those of other little boys. Indeed, my nurse never told me that." "Very likely not. But it's time you were told, and I tell you because I love you." "Tell me what, dear godmother?" "That you will never be able to walk or run, or jump or play. That your life will be quite different from most people's lives, but it may be a very happy life for all that. Do not be afraid. I am not afraid, said the boy. But he turned very pale, and his lips began to quiver. Though he did not actually cry, he was too old for that, and perhaps too proud. Though not wholly comprehending, he began dimly to guess what his godmother meant. He had never seen any real live boys, but he had seen pictures of them running and jumping, which he had admired and tried hard to imitate, but always failed. Now he began to understand why he failed, and that he always should fail. That in fact he was not like other little boys, and it was no use his wishing to do as they did, and play as they played, even if he had them to play with. He was a separate life, in which he must find out new work and new pleasures for himself. Oh my goodness, this little boy is so sad. It's so sad. He got it hard. Hard on that little boy. Oh, I don't know why I took that out. I need to leave that in. Okay, wait. I'm only gonna do... Can I finish this in 5 minutes, y'all think? Y'all like, we have turned off this video. This is not what this channel was for. But that's the name of this video. So I had to do something in this video that just does not belong here. And I was supposed to work out. I did, but still. I was looking all fat. But girl. That's what I said. Girl. I'm actually going to this 15, so hopefully this don't actually finish all within this little time frame. Ooh. In the middle of the night, no one's around. I look to you. I know you won't come when I call. I look to you. I hope you'll see me through. Knowing you'll leave me lonely too. I look to you. And this is the time. I can't move on. You got that boom, 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 boom. What you gotta do with anything I just said? I'm not 100% sure, but just act like I said I love you. Ooh, give me boo, so rude. You take your time. You take your time. Subscribe to me. If you're coming down below, I swear you agree. If you don't agree, then just tell me so. I probably won't care. But the comment section is there for you. So use it wisely. If I were you, take your time. Relax. I can't believe, trust me if you take your time and watch me. You'll agree that I am cool and really worth watching. Okay, y'all. I need to hurry up. Okay, I'm gonna go to the Sister Hill of Blackberry corner. I am on chapter what? 6? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on chapter 6. So, yeah. You mean if you still here and you leave after this, I understand. I won't be mad. I won't sleep. I hope you don't either. I'm taking my time. I'm wasting your time. I'm hoping I catch you not paying attention in case you like it. Okay. Okay, so in the last chapter, in chapter 5, some little girl walked up and just gave her baby and said, boom, here we go. This yours. This yours now. You said you was going to use the one that took babies. You take this baby. When Nas left for Nashville that Saturday morning, he wore a pair of khaki pants and work boots. He'd been dressed for the park. But when he returned Sunday, he had donned a gray suit, a bold red tie, and a fedora with a tiny blue feather. Nash usually felt uncomfortable in anything fancier than lecture slacks and a flannel shirt. One of the reasons he liked going to church was that he had to dress up. Though he looked magnificent in Sunday clothes, the stiff garbage annoyed him, and the silk of the tie was like a slippery noose around his neck. Nash stopped in the foyer to skim through the weekend meal. Bonnie looked over at the baby sleeping comfortably in a sewing basket on top of the dining room table. She had to admit that after Thora had left first thing this morning, it was wonderful puttering around the house, knowing that the baby lay gurgling just feet away. Every once in a while, she would talk to him, and somehow she felt the baby understood her. At the very least, the child understood love. Nash walked into the living room and removed his hat. He didn't seem to notice that the blinds were half closed to the mid-morning sun, and the room was quiet of the usual TV sounds. Bonnie prayed the child would give her a few minutes before he woke up, and was glad that baby Wyan slept so soundly. Baby Wyan. Thora had come up with the name. Last night into the early morning, as the two women sat pondering the fate of the child, the same word kept repeating itself. When the mama comes back, when Nash gets home, when will that damn baby stop crying? So Thora started calling him Baby Win. Bonnie respectfully changed the spelling. Look, there you go, Nash Wiley, she said, running her hands down his lap. My man go away for a few days and come back sharp as a tack. Some of the front fellas invited Horse and me to Sunday service, Nash said. Bonnie made sure her body blocked the basket on the dining room table. She followed him into the bedroom. Jackie attend church no matter what his team. You worship with Jackie Robinson sure enough, she asked. Nash nodded. Since me and Horace was going to Sunday service, we decided to go to the tall man shop there in Nashville and get a couple suits. Glad we did, because the evening news was making pictures of Jackie right there at the church. You don't say, Bonnie replied. Nash slipped the suit jacket onto a wooden hanger and pressed it into the back of his closet behind his flannel shirt. He reached into his bag and had Bonnie a soft, flat object wrapped in a white tissue paper. Most time, Nash would bring home a can opener or a pot holder when he returned from a trip. When she opened the tissue, inside was a yellow and green scarf. Bonnie reached up and hugged him around the neck. Got it when I was in town in Nashville, he said proudly. But I needed to warn you. Horse got the same one for Thora. She'll love it just as much as me, Bonnie said, folding the satin square. Go for it, he called. Bonnie flinched at the loudness of his voice. I put him out back, she said. Must mean Thor's still around. She left early this morning. Said she wanted to roast a duck for Horse. What you make for me? Got a brisket, she answered. Bonnie could feel her heart pounding. She glanced out toward the biscuit. Also some canned yams. Sounds good, he said, stepping into his overalls. What you girls been up to this weekend? Here was a perfect opportunity to explain what had happened. Woohoo! But she knew that Nash's easy move would quickly turn to anger. He didn't get irritated too often, but when he did, he would yell at her. then withdraw for hours of silence. We ain't done much, she said. You know, this and that. Bonnie stayed at his heels when he returned to the living room, where he snapped on the TV. Thankfully, it was low. He flicked through the stations until he found a movie with Claude Rains and took a seat on the couch. Bonnie stood between Nas and the table. She could see that Ryan was still asleep. You want your dinner in here? She asked. If you don't mind, my legs been bothering me bad, and I just want the comfort of the couch. Bonnie thought about taking the basket with her into the kitchen, but she knew it would only draw Nas' attention to the baby. Also moving, Ryan might cause him to wait. Bonnie prepared a plate of beef and rice. She spooned thick glaze over the yams, then quickly cut a wedge of cornbread. Bonnie, he called. She rose. She froze. Oh my goodness. Put some lemon in my tea. You know I like that lemon. Bonnie took a breath. Whew. She placed his dinner plate on a wooden tray along with a tall glass of sweet tea topped with a lemon slice. When she returned, Nas was standing over the basket. Who you sitting for? He casually asked. Sitting? Don't look like the Jenny Dixon's child or any of the babies from church, he said, taking the tray from Bonnie. He crossed back into the living room and set the food on the coffee table. Nas opened a napkin and stuffed it into the top of his shirt. It's not Jenny's child, Bonnie answered. She shut her eyes for a moment and prepared for the worst. But so far, Nas didn't seem bothered or even concerned. His gaze remained on the black and gray figures that darted across the TV screen, even as he leaned over to slice the thick wedge of beef. So who child then? He asked as he stared at the TV. I don't rightly know, Bonnie answered. Don't rightly know what? I don't know whose child this is. Nas turned to her, suddenly focusing on her words. What you say? Bonnie steadied herself before she began. A gal left the baby with me. Nas looked at her blankly. Thora and me had come from the dinner last night, she explained, trying to keep her voice easy and calm. Went over there to Mayfeathers, and we were coming up the drive here, and this young girl was standing at the door. She was just standing there, Nas. Bonnie could see a strange look slowly etch itself across her husband's face, but she couldn't tell if it was anger or if belief. Women say she couldn't take care of the baby. With the napkin still dangling from his collar, Nas went to the basket again, but kept his distance as he looked down at the child, now wide awake, gurgling contentedly, his limbs trashing about. You mean to tell me that some woman came up to this house, he said slowly, and left the baby with you? Yes, sir. Bonnie braced herself for his anger. She waited for him to tell her how it was all her fault for standing up at the town meeting and making foolish statements. But when she looked up, Nas was bent over, poking at the baby's chin. Ryan's voice pealed like a tiny bell. Lord, today, Nas said, his pinky caught in the baby's fist. You ain't mad? Don't expect you to turn a tiny baby away. Bonnie was shocked at Nas' response. She certainly thought that if he were this understanding, maybe he'll let her keep the child. But we can't keep him, Nas went on. You know that. The glimmer of hope inside of Bonnie suddenly dimmed. Don't mean to piss on the picnic, Nas said, but you know I can't abide raising nobody else's child. You know that. He a good baby, Bonnie assured. Bonnie, just cry when he's scared, she said, and he a good little eater. Bontina, Nas' tone had sharpened. She lifted the gurgling baby and held him close to her chest. Where am I supposed to take him? Nas sat down on the couch and pulled his plate close to him again. If I know you, Bonnie, you'll figure something out. His focus went back to the TV. The baby began to cry. What if I can't find a place for Ryan? Ryan? Nas said. You done named the boy? Thor named him. Ain't no wonder his name is so damn Ryan. Nas blustered. Suppose I can't find a home for him, Bonnie pressed. You will. But suppose I can't, she insisted. Then we have to take him to Pine, Nas said. Ain't no way. Nas looked over his shoulder. For the first time since finding out about the child, Bonnie saw anger flash in his eyes. I'll come to something, she said quickly. Without another word, Nas's attention went back to the TV. Bonnie laid a screaming Ryan in the basket and carried him to the kitchen. She placed the basket on the counter, then took a can of milk from the back of the fridge, poured it into one of the bottles that the mama had left, and set it in a pan of water. Bonnie quickly lit the stove. She had done this more than a few times when she said for Gina Dixon and Delphine, but never was she filled with this much indecision and uncertainty. Wyan was totally in her care. There would be no mama coming to collect him. After a few minutes, Bonnie saw that tiny bubbles had begun to form at the bottom of the pan. She removed the bottle, tested it on the back of her wrist, then placed the nipple to his mouth. Wyan pulled so fiercely that his sucking sounded throughout the quiet kitchen. In just these few hours, she had grown unused to his own kind of talk, and even his cry. His helplessness was irresistible, his innocence addictive. The thought of taking a baby to anyone made her feel empty, but Bonnie would get over it. She had to. Dang. All right. Now, I don't want you to. Don't want you to subscribe. But YouTube say if you don't subscribe, then they're not gonna let other people see my no, my video is out. My video exists. So, could you subscribe so YouTube get off my back? And also, if you could comment down below, that would also help out. Cause YouTube just like if my video don't get no comments, they're not gonna post my video. You would think it this way, YouTube be like, we're just not gonna post your video. So I get your life together. So help me get my life together. You feel what I'm saying?